Fenway Stadium in the Magnolia State on a perfect Saturday in November. Matt and Luke says they remember you in November. Rebels 5-3, Gamecocks 4-3. Welcome to SEC football, presented by Allstate. I'm Taylor Zarzer. Chris Budden's on the field. This cool cat, Matt Stinchcomb. We'll get to him in just a second. First, how about the ups and downs of Jake Bentley, the Gamecock quarterback in 2018?
And the story this season for South Carolina has been turnovers from the quarterback position. Jake Bentley.
Frustration is real with fans and everybody.
Every time he makes a mistake, you can hear the boos from the crowd.
You know, obviously it's, disappointing to hear that from the fans, but I mean, they just want to win too.
I've seen Jake Bentley at his finest, and he plays good enough football to beat anybody they play against.
Touchdown, Jake Bentley. If you are booing Jake Bentley, you are not watching the same team that I'm watching.
And I think Jake Bentley is the guy.
And he will be the guy on the field first today as the Gamecocks will receive the opening kickoff in what is the 16th meeting between these two schools. 9 of them were out of conference. Only 7 times have these schools met in the 27 years South Carolina's been in the SEC. And Deebo Samuel off the carom fields it at the 10-yard line. Samuel through the middle of the field. Even when they don't kick to him, he makes something happen. 3 career touchdowns, make it 4. Deebo, touchdown. Eric Douglas was the up-back, an offensive lineman that was unable to field that. It caroms off of him to Samuel. He takes it to the house.
It's almost like the timing was immediately skewed on that return. And the coverage team, I think, kind of let off the gas when they saw Douglas incapable of fielding that football, and just enough for Samuel to find his way up. You can see why he is such an electric playmaker, and why defensive coordinator Wesley McGriff was talking about, we have to make sure that we defend number 1. They didn't do it on special teams.
And I have a correction to make, Matt. Jake Bentley will not get the football.
No, not yet, anyway, that's for sure. What a way to start fast for a team who hasn't all season.
Parker White, and his extra point is good. 90 yards for the senior from Inman, South Carolina. Now responsible for 23 touchdowns, 10 receiving, 7 rushing, 4 kick returns. He's thrown 2 touchdowns to his buddy Brian Edwards. Will Tommy, the kickoff specialist for the Gamecocks, left-footed, kicks to Elijah Moore, and Moore fields it just outside the 5. And he is wrapped up near the 27-yard line. So it's Jordan Ta'amu that's the first quarterback on the field today. What a terrific season he's had.
He's just so remarkably accurate. And when you talk with offensive coordinator Phil Longo, who has liked Ta'amu ever since last season, when he took over for Shea Patterson versus Arkansas, he plays within himself. He understands what limitations he does have, and there aren't many. And because of that, he goes where he needs to go with the football, protects it, while still being explosive in this offense.
This season. Try Phillips again, and he gets free past the 30, first down run, and he's tripped up by Stephen Montack near the 45.
We talked about Scotty Phillips and how explosive he can be. This is not just a passing offense, and Scotty Phillips has made it that. One of their goals in the offseason, to be more physical and get the ground game going. Number 22 has enabled the offense to be that way.
Let's go quick, a little swing pass past the 50-yard line to Elijah Moore, Chris Budden.
Well, Ta'amu from Hawaii, as you said, you think this is an early kick? It's 6 a.m. back in Pearl City. So this is how they do it. They get their cup of coffee, they get in the car, and they go to McDonald's. They pick up eggs, rice, and a side of Spam.
It's real. It really does happen. Past the 45-yard line to A.J. Brown outside of Hawaii. I think the only person that covets that kind of meal is Matt Stinchcomb.
It's not geographically specific to enjoy spam. You can be on the continental
No
United
matter
States.
where?
Absolutely anywhere,
Okay.
buddy.
Fair enough.
That reception to A.J. Brown on the outside typically lines up in the slot ever since DK Metcalf has been out of the lineup. We'll see number 1 out wide more often.
Fake to Phillips. Amu keeps it himself and is on his feet past the 35-yard line. As a couple of Gamecocks just letting him run around there. Jam Williams tackles him. First down, Ole Miss.
Carried the ball 19 times last time out versus Auburn. A very capable runner, Tommy.
Make it 2nd and 1. And straight ahead, that's Phillips for the first down.
You see, racking up quick first downs. And one of the things that they want to do, stay out of 3rd and long altogether. This is the best first down offense in the country, averaging 8+ yards.
Fake to Phillips, to Amu again. And just patiently waits and gets near the 20-yard line as Rashad Fenton pushes him out. It's another Ole Miss first down. Sherrod Green unable to make the tackle there.
Last week, Bryson Allen Williams was able to chase down the ball carrier from behind. They are crashing, and each time, Tamu's pulling the ball on the edge.
Fake to Phillips. Tamu doesn't have anything and just throws it away. Pressure by DJ Wanham as a flag comes in.
Trying to run play action there in the red zone.
DJ Wanham, Matt, coming back last week after that injury in the Coastal Carolina game, trying to jump to avoid a cut block from an offensive lineman. He did some ligament damage to his knee, missed 5 games, 2 sacks against the Vols last week in his return.
Definitely changes the complexion of the defensive front for South Carolina.
The hand to Phillips, and he's banged down inside the 9. How so with Wanham out there on the field?
Well, it gives you another big body, number 1, because what was happening is South Carolina was having to borrow Keir Thomas from inside and slide him outside, so they had more size on the edges. Offenses were attacking the edge of that South Carolina defensive front with Wanham back. They put size back inside, and they don't forfeit the ability to set the edges in the run game at defensive end or outside linebacker.
Had the pressure on the first down play. Now here's a 3rd down. A bullet, but unable to make the catch is Dawson Knox. It'll be 4th down.
It's the 3rd downs, the 3rd down passing scenarios that Ole Miss wanted to stay out of. South Carolina, not a heavy pressure team. But when you get them in the red zone and on these 3rd downs, they're going to start bringing more pressure, and Ole Miss does not hold up very well in protection. That was the issue a game ago versus Auburn. The reads weren't clean for Tamu, and they're able to deny the end zone here.
Here's Luke Logan, 4th in the SEC in scoring from 25 yards away. And Ole Miss is on the board. Will they kick it to Debo this time? This is the 55th time that Will Muschamp has been a head coach in an SEC game. And it's the first time ever he's coached against the Ole Miss Rebels. How about that? 4 years at Florida, 3 at South Carolina. You see the record there. His wife went to school here, so he's excited to be back in a place that his family loves against a man, Matt Luke, that he tried to persuade to come join his staff 2 years ago. Muschamp searching for his 5th win of the season.
And obviously had that 1 game forfeited. Marshall, Thundering Herd, they were incapable of getting that game played. They're going to get another one added on the back end versus Akron on December 1st.
Just announced yesterday. This is over Debo's head, and South Carolina will come out on the field on offense with Jake Bentley at quarterback. We showed in the open all the adversity that he's overcome this year, especially impressive last week, Stench, in the 2nd half.
Well, he's just so opportunistic, and the guy is just a great competitor. And meeting with the Ole Miss defenders yesterday, Momo Sanogo was talking about how he's just such a great competitor, a guy that pushes hard. Is he going to wow you with his arm or his legs? He's not, but he's plenty good enough in both of those areas. And when he is on, he is among the better quarterbacks in the conference.
They started the game with Tyson Williams last week. They do it again, and a little pass out near the edge for a few yards. It'll set up a 2nd down. It's Casey Crosby, of course, who had the fractured finger, the surgery that he had the middle of the season. 2nd and long. Gamecocks will go quick, empty backfield. Another quick throw right near the sticks to the 35, make it the 36-yard line to Crosby. So two quick throws to the tight end. They've struggled to find their tight ends this year. Hurst caught 44 passes last year. Hayden Hurst, that was drafted in the 1st round. The entire team has 20 to their tight ends this season. Now Bentley will take off. And no real effects from that knee injury suffered against Kentucky. Nice run.
He pulled it a couple of times. 4 different rushes for 20 yards last week versus Tennessee. Kept the defense honest, and this time not a QB draw, just a scramble. Saw the opportunity and took it.
From the Rebel defense, and Williams for a couple. It'll be 3rd and long after a pickup of 2. Mohamed Sanogo, who last week had 16 tackles, a career high for him, and that's the most any Rebels had in 11 years in their loss to Auburn in their last game.
Unquestionably the most active and productive defender for Ole Miss. They need other guys to step up, but this has been the key. They wanted to slow down the run game. You've only seen a couple of handoffs. Both of them, though, now setting up a 3rd and long.
Bubble pass. Williams makes a man miss. 1st down Gamecocks inside the 30, off to the races, inside the 10, and pushed out inside the 5. It'll be 1st and goal inside the 2. Zedrick Woods saves a touchdown there.
Really well blocked outside. Malik Young in there in relief for Dennis Daly, who was injured last week versus Tennessee. Played very, very well. Nice block out in space to spring Williams. Williams, an excellent receiver out of the backfield.
Williams, straight ahead, touchdown Gamecocks. Followed Zach Bailey and Donnell Stanley in front of him, and the Gamecocks with an early double-digit lead.
Zach Bailey probably played his best game this season versus Tennessee a week ago. Physical, able to get enough push to get the Gamecocks into the end zone on a 3rd and long, an incredibly well executed screen pass, just enough to get into a scoring opportunity, and they punch it in once again.
And the extra point from Parker White is good. A 50-yard swing pass to Tyson Williams sets it up for him on the ground. Gamecocks up early.
Welcome back to Ole Miss. South Carolina leads at 14-3. Will Muschamp told me this morning the biggest key for his team was getting off to a fast start. They've struggled with this all season. He couldn't quite put his finger on why they had started out slow. So the 2 things they wanted to do: start with some tempo and really just amp the guys up. So on their 45-minute bus ride down here, they blared the music, trying to get these guys amped up. Seems to work so far.
Yeah, we were talking to Todd Ellis, the voice of the Gamecocks, on the radio. Of course, one of the best quarterbacks in school history, and he said it was loud. People were going crazy on that bus.
And it makes sense when you think about it, because this is an early kick. It's an early kick for everybody, and you're a slow starting team. You got to get those juices flowing quickly.
It's Elijah Moore from the 2. He runs into Gamecocks at the 20, is ahead to the 24. One against South Carolina about a month ago. Fake, and then a throw across the middle, just a flip to Moore, and that's a 1st down. Tamu is in rhythm in this offense this year.
You know, he sees it really well. That's one of the challenges for South Carolina defensively, is to change the picture and muddy the reads.
Fake to Phillips, and it's A.J. Brown out of bounds for 7, maybe 8 yards.
The other piece of it, too, is the quick throws to A.J. Brown outside. You let him catch it, and then he turns into a running back. Phenomenal after the catch in producing yards is A.J. Brown.
Brown's one of the best in school history. Tamu finds him again, and he's inside the 40, down inside the 35-yard line as Fenton knocks him out of bounds. And the Rebels are quickly marching down the field.
Well, that time came all the way across the formation. Fenton on A.J. Brown the whole time. Had to deviate because of the umpire. Tamu able to find him.
23 yards on the last play. End zone this time. Brown Looked like there was some contact back down there, but there comes the flag.
It's late, but it's right. You know, Fenton was in coverage again and ended up kind of grabbing Brown around the waist and slingshot himself ahead to try to make a play on this ball.
Pass interference, number 8, defense. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot, first down.
Called number 8, but for sure it was on Rashad Fenton. He was among the SEC leaders in interceptions with 3 coming into this game. And you can see they're going to challenge him. A.J. Brown, we asked who were among the fastest players on this offense. Amu said DeMarcus Lodge. A.J. Brown would argue that. Big body that can move.
Amu takes off straight ahead inside the 10. Tackled by Kobe Smith after a 9-yard gain.
It's just so dangerous to ever turn your eyes away from the line of scrimmage when Jordan Ta'amu is in the backfield. Even were they to empty that backfield, no running backs, it doesn't matter. Every time Ta'amu's in the game and has the ball in his hands, he is a run risk. And especially in the red zone, that QB draw game starts becoming more prominent.
Ta'amu back at quarterback, and the quick throw out there and slipping at the 10 and regaining his footing is Moore. And a little skirmish breaking out.
They may have lost yardage here. I don't know if Moore didn't go down as he was trying to cut back underneath the block of A.J. Brown. I don't think so. I think it was just feet and hands on that one. Kept his footing, was able to regain it. Regardless, didn't get the yardage needed to convert. You can see now Ole Miss trying to jump and get lined up quickly to rattle this snap off.
The Gamecocks put 7 in the box. Instead, he goes the other direction, and it's incomplete to Phillips. Will they call it a lateral? They say live football. That's DJ Wanham that gets it, and the Gamecocks recover the fumble.
They were trying to swing it out there and get it to Scotty Phillips with 3 receivers out in front of him. That is a hard angle to say otherwise. You look where Ta'amu is, and the fact that Phillips was already going upfield and tried to make that catch behind him. He was eager to try to catch it, but get upfield quickly and ruled a backwards pass a turnover. And we talked about Ta'amu protects the football well. That time they're saying the trajectory of the pass was upfield and therefore backwards. Only the 3rd lost fumble on the season for Ole Miss.
Tyson Williams, who gets up to the 23-yard line, so they do not come up here and take a longer look at that lateral. And it's the 3rd fumble for Ole Miss on the season.
I don't know that there was a good enough angle down the line to determine otherwise.
Right, that one we saw was inconclusive. 5-yard gain for Williams. Plenty of time for Bentley. And this is Williams already with a 50-yard reception out of the backfield, and he's into Ole Miss territory. And Bentley wants to take the long strike to Shi Smith inside the 10.
Brian Edwards, Deebo Samuel. Everybody knows about them in the passing game for South Carolina, but Shi Smith is demanding attention. He is lethal in the slot, that time with a single high safety, 1 safety deep. Ole Miss sought to bring pressure. It's hard for that center field safety to come over and help. On that route, you break outside, it's a slot fade, and it is difficult for those safeties to provide any help over the top.
Turner up off his feet near the 5. 2nd and goal as Cedric Woods was the first to him. An injured Rebel. Fake to Turner, and Bentley just throws it into the stands.
Didn't have it. That time he had Samuel coming through the backfield and did not pull the secondary much. Usually you'll see an adjustment where they'll try to roll to that fly sweep motion, especially because South Carolina likes that tap pass. Haven't seen it in the red zone. That time really did not adjust the defense. Bentley wisely threw it away to play again for third down.
So now the big back, Mon Denson, gets the carry inside the 5 and tackled at the 2.
The Rebel defense forcing the field goal attempt, huge considering the start that they've had to this game. Mon Denson met by the leading tackler for the Ole Miss Rebels, Momo Sanogo, and then the rest of the defense rallied.
Parker White from 20 yards to make it a 14-point lead. Parker's had a great sophomore year, and it continues as South Carolina's up 17-3 to the studio in Daryanoko. Will Tommy kicks it deep to Elijah Moore, and a fair catch will be made, and it'll give Ole Miss the football at the 25. Very quickly, it's Elijah Moore into the Gamecocks secondary and into their territory at the 40-yard line for 23 more yards.
Tamu does such a great job of feeling where the pressure is going to be coming from. That time, slot pressure from the boundary. Tamu just feels it, sees it. Elijah Moore turns and gives his quarterback a target for a big game.
And now a reverse with Moore, with Tamu blocking in front, and he's out of bounds. That's a pickup of 5. Make it 6. True freshman from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Elijah Moore, has been all over the football field.
He has. He saw 3 straight plays. They get another touch to Elijah Moore, but you almost wonder if the Ole Miss Rebel offense would have preferred that target penalty not come out because of that rhythm and tempo they were in.
Another quick throw and a turn made by Braylon Sanders to get the first down. Sophomore from Hogansville, Georgia, with his 16th catch of the season. Injuries for both of these teams was a factor in the first quarter. So was Debo Samuel, the big kick return. Gamecocks up 2 scores. That is an Ole Miss Rebel through and through. Matt Luke in his 2nd year as a head coach, 11th year on the staff. Terrific offensive lineman here. Father Tommy played defensive back for Coach Johnny Vaught in the 60s. His brother Tim played for Coach Billy Brewer at quarterback in the 80s. His wife is from Oxford. He knows Ole Miss, and he's the perfect guy to lead their program through what has been a tough time after the probation, unable to play in a bowl game last year or this year. Phillips straight ahead, and we mentioned that probation stench earlier this week. It was announced by the NCAA that they will not get the bowl ban back, but they will be allowed to have unofficial visits take place with recruits on campus, and that the investigation is over, which is the most important thing for Ole Miss fans.
That was the ambiguity of it, the uncertainty of what the status was. It was hanging over their heads in recruiting.
Fake to Phillips. Tamu inside the 10 takes a big hit. He's down at the 9-yard line. That was Stephen Montag that came in.
Stephen Montag, pretty active in run support to say the least. And Tamu that time with an inside run, and I'm not sure Montag didn't get the shorter end of that collision. You could hear it all the way up here in the booth. But Tamu trying to find his way into the end zone with some of that Q run game, and a 3rd and short. Not necessarily a comfort zone play for the Ole Miss Rebel offense. Scotty Phillips has gotten thicker, but he is by no means a big back.
You give it to him. First down. Touchdown.
But he's got speed, and speed can kill. And you see it right here, his ability to bounce it outside. There really wasn't much space there at the point of attack. And Scotty Phillips just pressed it right at the line of scrimmage and was able to bounce outside. And you can see why he's been able to bring some of that run balance to what is a prolific offense.
Change, right? Luke Logan with the extra point, and it's 17-10. He's the junior from Ellisville, Mississippi. Scotty Toddy is what they say here in Oxford. It is a stunning Saturday here in the great city of Oxford, Mississippi. Gamecocks 17, Ole Miss 10. First visit by South Carolina to Oxford in 10 years. Won this game 10 years ago. Beat them in Columbia the following year, which was the invention of Sandstorm at Williams-Brice Stadium, by the way, when they beat Ole Miss in 2009. Rebels do lead the overall series by a total of 8-7. It's a short kick. Keep away from Debo unless you bat it back to him. And up to the 31-yard line is where the Gamecocks will start, Chris.
Yeah, and they're without Rico Dowdle, who has gone into the locker room. He was barely able to put any pressure on that left ankle. And as you said, Taylor, he is a guy who has battled injuries his entire career. Just recently, I had a conversation with him. He told me this is the healthiest he's ever felt. And because of that, he's completely changed his diet. He was very strict about his warm-up routines and his training so that he could maintain being healthy. So really a shame for a kid who's tried to do everything that he's could to stay healthy.
Back to the ground game again, and Williams back in after being dinged up a couple of possessions ago. Chris telling you about the injury to Dowdle. Well, Williams had some helmet-to-helmet contact that Vernon Dasher initiated. Dasher called for targeting. 3rd and 7. Gamecocks have to get to Ole Miss territory. Bentley, quick throw, incomplete. Good defense there by Kedron Smith, the true freshman from West Palm Beach, Florida.
The entire offensive line cuts right here because you're trying to get the defense's hands down. But Willie Hibbler is coming quickly, providing a little bit of pressure. Well defended in coverage as well. And we'll see the first punt of the game in this one for South Carolina.
Can confirm the punters are here.
Yeah, they made the trip.
This is Charleston, and he's one of the best in Gamecocks history as it's fielded at the 10 by Elijah Moore. A 46-yarder for the junior from Columbia. See Phil Longo, and there's Matt Luke, the head coach at Ole Miss, coming in there trying to fire up that offense. Coach Longo, the offensive coordinator, talking to his quarterback, Jordan Ta'amu. Took a big hit from Stephen Montack on that last drive, but ready to go back in the football game as Ole Miss will start just outside their 10-yard line.
They'll be joined in the backfield by Isaiah Woolard, true freshman, that they're pretty high on as well, in relief of Scotty Phillips, who's got most of the action so far in this game at running back.
Over 200 total yards of offense already for the Rebels. Fake to Phillips, load up, middle of the field, wide open, up at the 38-yard line. It's Moore again.
Elijah Moore is emerging in this offense. His safety help coming over late, took a shot. It was Stephen Montack that was a little bit slow getting up, and the training staff for South Carolina ran out on the field before the officials stopped play. I'm sure Montack got off of the field after having been injured, a little bit rattled after the shot that he gave Moore coming over from safety.
26-yard pass for Ta'amu there. Fake to Woolard, and the one-handed grab by Moore.
TJ Brunson, coming off one of his best games last week for South Carolina, tips this football. He tips it with his left hand, and Moore is in the zone right now. That ball is coming at him at a strange angle. It changed the trajectory of that football after the tip, and he was able to make a one-handed catch over the middle.
Fake to Woolard. First down inside the 10. That's DeMarcus Lodge somehow keeping possession of the football.
It's a physical catch by DeMarcus Lodge because Keyshawn Nixon is all over him throughout this route. He's arriving there right on time, and Lodge showing some of the hand strength to maintain possession of that throw on target from Tamu.
End zone, incomplete. J.C. Horn batted it away from Elijah Moore, second down.
That's excellent coverage by the true freshman in the slot. And Elijah Moore has been on fire in this game. J.C. Horn in perfect position on that lower hip of Elijah Moore and able to make that pass breakup. Tamu wanted Elijah Moore the whole way.
Leads the team in PBUs season, the true freshman. A great start to his collegiate career. Second down. Willard over his head. Is this a lateral? No. Whistle comes out. Third down. Tamu likes it's their 39th play so far in this game. We're not even halfway through the second quarter. Tamu. Fourth down as he is flushed out of the pocket. Nice pressure by Aaron Sterling and DJ Wanham.
Looked like he wanted to go to A.J. Brown, who's been lined up outside to the left side of the formation the entire game. Elijah Moore really emerging in this one, and DeMarcus Lodge nearly the same number of red zone targets as A.J. Brown. But by the time Tamu came back to the right side of the formation, nowhere to go with the football.
How about the Gamecock red zone defense? It's been a big story in this game. The reason why they will maintain the lead. Logan from 26 yards. It's 17-13. He'll take a knee. Jake Bentley's been questioned by his fans, been questioned by everyone so far this season, and some of it's been justified with those interceptions that he's thrown. Through 16 in his last 11 games, but man, he is a courageous player. Anytime he faces adversity, last few weeks we've seen it. Great second half performances, including what happened last week in the 12-point come from behind victory against Tennessee, and he'll load up. And down inside the 30, streaking to the end zone is Brian Edwards. 75 yards.
Brian McClendon is the wide receivers coach for South Carolina. He's on the sideline. Look at this catch. Reaching around the defender. Able to make that catch with one hand. That's a Deebo Samuel move. And Miles Hartfield gets outrun to the end zone. Offensive coordinator for South Carolina maybe should have spent more time on the sidelines. Ever since then, this wide receiving core has come alive.
Incredible catch by Edwards. And Jake Bentley says, can we take some more phone calls?
That's right. Wow. A fantastic job by Brian Edwards.
Rebels get it at the 25-yard line. Back. And look how wide open A.J. Brown is inside the 20. He beat Keyshawn Nixon.
Well, this play was basically which open receiver do you want to throw to? You want to throw to Elijah Moore, you want to throw to A.J. Brown. You can't argue with the decision. A.J. Brown, one of the best receivers, not just in this conference, but in the country. You look at the stats, and he's atop all of them. You can see why. Keeping in mind, too, you know, they pushed him outside. Not playing where he typically does, usually spending most of his time in the slot in this offense.
46 yards on that last play. Take to Phillips. Tamu inside the 5. Touchdown, Rebels. He's shown off the arm for 251 yards passing, and he's run it 10 times, including that 17-yard touchdown run.
Set up by the big explosive play to A.J. Brown. We talked about it earlier. South Carolina has done a great job just about all season long. At Texas A&M, they broke out a couple. Missouri late in the game. And here, it was a matter of time before Ole Miss got loose with a big chunk play yet again. He ends up, and you mentioned the ride. And Scotty Phillips does a great job of faking as well. He's escorted into the end zone by his tight end, Octavius Cooley. See number 15 there? It's just a convoy. Tamu's taken some shots in the run game. He's been able to bounce back up, and here's a pretty poised guy, but you can see pretty fired up. Ole Miss offense, the best in the country in generating those. That was the first such play in this game.
Debo. And Samuel is tackled.
They've only run now 25 offensive plays, and part of it's a function of you keep putting your defense back out there. Ole Miss has run 44.
Slipping on the turf is Samuel. Second down.
We were talking about the field earlier. Well, that's twice now we see a quick pass and the receiver trying to make a cut and incapable of doing it. That time Samuel largely tackled by the grass, but you can see South Carolina, they're kind of desperate at this point to try to just possess the football. They've been able to put up the points, special teams contributing, but that defense has been on the field for quite a bit of time. Bentley's done a good job of spreading the football around. They need to convert here.
2nd and 11. Wide open is Williams again out of the backfield. This guy is having a day catching the football, and he's down to the 35-yard line. He's well over 100 yards receiving after that 31-yard catch.
It's an empty backfield set, and he was never accounted for in the coverage. Tyson Williams was lined up on the far boundary, and as you mentioned, you think back to that first offensive possession for South Carolina, a screen pass on a 3rd and long. Takes it for another big gain here to convert a 2nd down.
Placed by A.J. Turner, and Turner on the ground with a burst of speed. It's a 1st down run to the 25. For the junior from Clifton, Virginia, has been in and out of the lineup this year with injuries.
Yeah, he missed a couple of games. He was in the concussion protocol. They felt like they could get him back, and with Rico Dowdle going down, couldn't come at a better time for South Carolina.
Turner bottled up. It's a loss of 2 yards. Meanwhile, they're looking at Williams' hand after Tyson made that most recent catch over on the sideline right now.
Big tackle for loss that time by Kadir Shepard, and could not have come at a better time. South Carolina not only getting into a rhythm, but grinding out some yards on the ground, converting the sticks.
Underneath, inside the 10, Samuel's out near the 6.
Not an easy catch for Samuel. That ball ended up hitting him low. He kind of had to stop on this route. You see that ball kind of dipping late, like a sinker. Samuel did a great job of not only turning upfield, but picking up positive yardage to regain most of what was lost from the holding penalty.
This is the 10th play for the Gamecocks. Bentley, incomplete. It's Chavis Dawkins, the intended target. The Ole Miss defense stiffens. It's 4th down.
Wow, that was a great job. It could have been easily, if you flinch defensively and you grab, pick up a defensive pass interference. Wesley McGriff pointed that out. South Carolina does a great job of drawing flags. Time cleanly played on the scramble drill by the Ole Miss Rebel defense.
Parker White, 23 yards. And it's a 7-point South Carolina lead with 2:01 to go in the first half. And more with the fair catch. Ole Miss gets it at the 25. Coming up. Tamu with another terrific half as he swings this one to Phillips. And that's 9 more for Ole Miss. That's 260 yards passing for Tamu here in the first half.
So a trial by fire for Jalen Dickerson. This is a secondary that has played a lot of young players. Dickerson had not seen time.
2nd and 1. And it's a handoff, and it's Phillips getting free into the secondary. Down inside the 30-yard line.
He was able to hit it right side. TJ Brunson's out, and Jalen Dickerson at safety. He's got to trigger faster. It's coming at you quickly to make that tackle.
Woolard blocking in front. Tamu free again. 1st and goal, Ole Miss. Montague saves the touchdown. Clock will run 43 seconds left in the half once they mark this football.
Well, Tamu, he does a good job. He steps back and sells it. It's not immediate. It's just enough. You want that defense to hesitate just a moment.
And the clock is already 15 seconds has come out before the center judge moved. A little trouble with the clock. Tamu back incomplete. As he was looking for Sincere David, the defensive lineman that is lined up as a tackle eligible, but could not get it over the head of Kobe Smith.
He was lined up at the end of the line of scrimmage. And Daniel Fennell just instinctively turns and runs. Could feel Sincere David coming out, was in on the block earlier on a touchdown run, and they were just trying to sneak him out there.
This is Phillips near the goal line. Touchdown.
Behind the block of his left guard, Javon Patterson. He just kind of cozies up underneath there and did not see anything that would have established him down short of the goal line.
What a half of football. 27 all, 751 combined yards and 54 combined points.
It started fast for South Carolina right out of the gate. You take a kickoff back for a touchdown, and then you're able to drive down again. You hit a big score on a big shot to Brian Edwards on a circus catch. But Elijah Moore there for an entire stretch of the first half, just powering the Ole Miss offense. And you can't overlook A.J. Brown and his contributions as well.
Will Muschamp is with Chris Button.
Coach, you told me one of the biggest keys was starting fast, and you did that. What do you attribute that to?
Well, the kickoff return was huge. I think offensively moving the ball really well. We got to get it stopped defensively. We gave up a 3rd and 14 and gave up a 4th and 7. Play a little better in the red zone.
You've done well in the red zone. What do you need more of defensively to start to slow them down?
Well, just, you know, they've hit some chunk plays on us. He's hurt us with his legs at times on some of the zone read pulls. Do a better job of leveraging the ball.
Thank you, Coach.
Both quarterbacks have thrown for 270 yards, tack off a 0, and it's tied 27 apiece. SEC halftime report right now with Dari, Coach Chiz, and CD. Do you like scoring? South Carolina 27, Ole Miss 27. Do you like yardage? 751 yards combined in the first half.
As you see the numbers, far more balanced for Ole Miss and their approach, and it's been a lot more abbreviated for South Carolina. Only 316, I say only, offensive plays, or offensive yards rather, because they haven't run a lot of plays. Right now, Ole Miss on pace to run over 100 snaps in this game.
And the Rebels will get it first in the second half. So Will Tommy will kick it deep to Elijah Moore. Moore had 9 catches, a career high in the first half. And his Rebels will take it at the 25-yard line, Chris Button.
that last touchdown before halftime seemed to add a little pep in their step for this Ole Miss offense. Matt Luke telling me, hey, I know that we have our issues in the red zone. We're not going to score every time, but I was pleased with what we did down there. He said defensively, we have to make them earn it and quit giving up the chunk plays.
Total yards, 433 for Ole Miss, 316 for South Carolina. And how about that first half that this guy had?
I mean, you keep wondering, what is the limit of Jordan Ta'amu's production offensively? Because he does it in so many different ways.
Fake to Phillips all day. Look at the blocking in front and the time to deliver the ball to A.J. Brown. Brown down to the South Carolina 40-yard line.
All the way across the formation for A.J. Brown. And you mentioned the protection, and Jalen Dickerson, you see this crossing pattern all the way, and Dickerson with another 7 yards of cushion off of A.J. Brown. T.J. Brunson was trying to get underneath that route, but there was more than enough time for Brown to clear all the way across the football.
Right. Nowhere to go for Ta'amu as that one was blown up. Second out. T.J. Brunson, big game last week, Matt. He was there.
Yeah, Will Muschamp was talking about how much their linebacker play has improved. And we've seen this team a lot this season. There was room for improvement, no doubt. Brunson, with the type of production he was expecting to see out of him versus the Balls in their last contest.
Fake, gets a couple people to bite, and it's Dawson Knox inside the 20 down to the 16-yard line.
Versus Arkansas was kind of the coming out party for the tight end position for Ole Miss offensively. A couple of nice plays, not only for Dawson Knox, but also Octavius Cooley.
Fake to Woolard, end zone, incomplete to A.J. Brown. Second down.
Talked about the red zone defense for South Carolina. Denying the end zone. 5 out of 6 chances. Actually got a turnover at one point.
Phillips. And he's up near the 10. Stephen Montack on the tackle will be 3rd and short.
That time a good job by Montack. He was playing near the tackle box, up there almost at linebacker depth. Scotty Phillips, he finishes his runs physically, always able to pick up a couple of extra yards, it seems like, after contact.
Ole Miss with over 500 total yards. It's the first drive of the 3rd quarter. And a whistle.
Jordan Ta'amu, you could see him looking at the sideline and then pointing towards Sean Rawlings. I don't know if he was asking.
Motion. Number 10 offense was moving forward at the snap. The penalties decline. 4th down.
I wonder if Ta'amu was asking if he was supposed to be under center for this play, because he ends up walking up. Sean Rawlings fires the snap back. You can see Ta'amu visiting with offensive coordinator Phil Longo and Elijah Moore as well. Definitely some confusion, but strange for Ta'amu to kind of gesture towards the line of scrimmage both times, and then I don't know if he was going to check the play.
Cost him a chance at a conversion. And now this is a 31-yard field goal attempt. And it gives Ole Miss their first lead of the game. Rebels on top. Gamecocks get the football. Jake Bentley, 270 yards passing in the first half today against the Rebels.
Well, he played pretty well last week versus Tennessee. And we've already documented there have been moments when there's been some rocky performances for Jake Bentley. But Brian Edwards, Deebo Samuel earlier on, and we've seen a host of running backs, Tyson Williams most prominently contributing to the offensive performance there in the first half. And Bentley, as you see his numbers, 14 of 18, 270 yards, the touchdown, was able to steer that offense well in the first half. See if South Carolina is able to establish much of a running game versus this Ole Miss defense.
Wisely, they kick it short. And it's Markway that fields it, so South Carolina will get it at the 30. Line of scrimmage throw to Shi Smith, then here come the Jets. Down near the 30-yard line, the 31 is Hartsfield. Makes the tackle. It's 35 more for the electrifying sophomore.
Well, there was a great catch in the first half by Brian Edwards. How about the block on the edge? To be able to spring Shi Smith for the big gainer.
Denson straight ahead. And you were talking in the first half as Smith had a big catch. This guy has been explosive as a sophomore. Had a big game against Michigan in their win in the Outback Bowl last year. But he has come on as their deep ball threat in 2018. It's not just Debo and Brian Edwards in this South Carolina offense. Bentley, muddy pocket, middle of the field, incomplete. There's Smith again, second down.
Had his hands on it, just couldn't bring it down. It's a little bit late. Bentley came back to him. He was trying to work the other side of the formation, came back to Shi Smith over the middle. Pretty well defended that time by Miles Hartfield to break up that reception, but Smith able to get hands on the ball.
Denson for a few, Smith with an incompletion. Now 3rd and 7 to get near the 20 for a first. And underneath, first down inside the 15 to Brian Edwards. One catch for 75 yards for Edwards.
Welcome up back. The injuries piling up for South Carolina. Here's a list of players who have been injured and have not come back to the game. Defensive back Javon Charleston, who I have seen out here on a bike. Rico Dowell went down early. The running back, defensive lineman Aaron Sterling. Malik Young, the left tackle, he is out here stretching. And then again, just recently, Tyson Williams, another running back for South Carolina, ran into the locker room, has not come back out yet, guys.
It has been crazy today, Chris, for both teams. And Willie Hibbler was the latest Ole Miss Rebel that was banged up. They paused that timeout. 1st and 10 for the Gamecocks after Edwards' completion moved the chains to the Ole Miss 14. Bentley. That's a catch made inside the 5, down near the 4 for Smith.
Working out of the slot. He was on Debo Samuel's side on the left side of the formation. You see Smith calling for the football right over his quarterback's eyes. Was able to make that completion to set up the 2nd and short.
Offsides, free play for Ole Miss, or for South Carolina rather, touchdown. That's Josh Vann. And that should stand as Jake Bentley's.
Number 95, defense. Penalties decline. Touchdown.
That's his 500th career completion. And it's a touchdown pass to the true freshman, Josh Vann.
As you mentioned, a free play. And a lot of times what you'll see is they'll just kind of freeze the defense. Josh Vann slips into the end zone and able to come down with the touchdown catch, and South Carolina answering the field goal drive by Ole Miss to open the 2nd half.
Parker White makes it 34-30. South Carolina, as Bentley takes advantage of the flag being on the ground, encroachment on the Ole Miss defense, and Josh Vann with his first touchdown catch as a Gamecock.
Laid it right in there.
Bentley into 6th all-time in passing yards with this performance. Let's go back. So Florida, after the loss last week to Georgia, the top 2-loss team in college football.
Missouri run defense versus Kentucky a week ago was pretty stout. Put a lot of pressure on Florida and Felipe Franks.
Phillips straight at that Gamecock defense up near the 34-yard line where he's tackled by Brunson. Isaiah Woolard in there, spelling Phillips, and the big tight end knocks in motion, and it's Woolard. First down, Rebels. Woolard, the freshman, Hattiesburg. Phillips is back in there after being banged up on the last drive. Tamu, that's a wobbler that came out of his hand funny. Second down.
A little bit of pressure there right at the tail end. Bryson Allen Williams got a little bit of pressure coming around. He took a shot there right at the tail end. Jay Webb there in the center of the Gamecock defense with the pressure.
Seen a lot of Webb this season. Tamu to Knox inside the 20.
Dawson Knox was attached at the end of the line of scrimmage, and he delay releases. It's really easy to lose track of a tight end. Looks like he's going to be in the protection scheme. He releases late, pops wide open over the middle.
Somewhere his grandparents are cheering in the stands. We saw them in the Grove before the game. Brentwood Academy come over from Nashville for all the Ole Miss home games. There's a quick throw, and it yields almost nothing to Lodge. In fact, it might have lost a yard.
Octavius Cooley, he tips this play right away. I mean, he almost turns like he's going to go run out there and block before the ball was even snapped. Not so sure that South Carolina didn't sniff that out just based on the inside receiver's position and stance. A.J. Brown's been relatively quiet so far this half.
Phillips inside the 10.
Seems like most of his best runs have been to the right side of this offensive front. Alex Givens, Brown up there working his magic.
First and goal for Ole Miss. Moore inside the 5. Sean Nixon forcing him out.
Talked about Brian Edwards, a deep threat for South Carolina, blocking well that time. Elijah Moore doing work on the edge once again. A name that we've called far more than I would have anticipated coming into this game.
As the lead back in front of Phillips as Tamu goes up to the line of scrimmage. Very rarely see this, and the toss out to Phillips. What a play call.
Well, so everything you're going to see Tamu, he's going to reverse out and then pitch it wide. You've got all your formation going into the boundary. South Carolina's eyes are going to be pulled to their left as Tamu kind of reverses out, the lead back. That time Dawson Knox headed that direction. Fake 62, halfback flip left. Every offense has got it, and Ole Miss certainly does, and this time for 6.
10-play drive, touchdown, Rebels. We saw who was in the first round of the college football playoff rankings, with Alabama at 1, LSU at 3, playing each other, sandwiched between number 2 Clemson and number 4 Notre Dame. Irish have Northwestern today in Evanston. Number 1 versus number 3 tonight. Tiger Stadium in Death Valley. Debo from the 15-yard line, and he is tackled up near the 27. Benson to the 32. Cockney on the tackle after a 5-yard pickup. If you're just joining us, South Carolina's been hit hard by injuries today on both sides of the field, as Rico Dowdle had a significant leg injury. Tyson Williams has been banged up. It's Denson that's come in, and a big hit on Edwards there that's delivered by Willie Hibbler.
This is a shot. Let's see if we can hear this. Willie Hibbler coming in there, You can hear the crowd reaction. Great job by Brian Edwards maintaining possession of that football. He knew he was going to take a shot from Hibble.
So 3rd and 2. Denson, at last effort, is right at the yard to gain.
It looked like Bentley had Casey Crosby, but he came off of him and went to Denson.
So 2-3 inches to go. What will Will Muschamp do on his own 36-yard line?
Well, he's seen 2 4th-down conversions on the other side. He's leaving his offense out there on the field. This is oftentimes a challenge to your offensive front. And what he's saying, you know, look, we saw them commit to the run, and they're trying to keep the football away from the Ole Miss offense. There haven't been a ton of stops until they get into the red zone. You're down 3 right here.
Denson in the backfield. First effort, second effort. I don't think he got there. Vaught Hemingway Stadium thinks it's a turnover on downs.
If you look in the middle of the Ole Miss defensive front, see him stand up, the South Carolina offensive lineman, there's just no push. So if you can withstand that first wave, then the second wave's coming. Here come the linebackers. Great job by number 40 inside. And Josiah Coatney made that play possible for the Rebel D.
Fake to Woolard. Tamu takes a shot and a flag comes down. DeMarcus Lodge got tangled up. Tamu also took a shot too. That's Rashad Fenton, who was tangled up with Lodge.
Barre, the true freshman.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Pass interference, number 16, defense. That penalty's declined. Personal foul, roughing the passer, number 52, defense. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot, first down.
J.J. Enigbare comes in here on Ta'amu at the end of the play.
See Ta'amu with the fake. Now look. That's what they're saying is he tackled him through, but you know, he's right there with making the contact as he's throwing the football. It didn't look like the initial contact was late. The flag came out anyway. Good to see Ta'amu get up, but if you're a defender, that's a tough flag to see come out.
Matt Corral is the backup, and he's 11 for 12 on the season with 2 touchdowns, and he's also run it 7 times for 2 touchdowns. So the offense does not slow down with the freshman from Ventura, California when he comes in.
Well, Phil Longo said, you talk about a totally different personality. Not better, just different. And Corral is a fiery guy. You could see that coming out. He's not nervous about this moment.
Woolard cuts it back, takes on Gamecocks to the 15.
And Puller's around in front, and Woolard, how about spelling Scotty Phillips, who's putting together a pretty strong day of his own. Corral in there, they give him the handoff. Woolard able to pick up about 8 yards there on first down to make it easier on Phil Longo with his backup in there at quarterback.
He is again first down inside the 10. Down near the goal line, he'll be marked down at the 1.
Just kind of picks his way through here. It was not really Kobe Smith for South Carolina picking off Bryson Allen Williams, who looked like he might have had a shot to make that tackle. But Woolard just picking his way through the South Carolina defense. And Jalen Dickerson, who's been forced into service with another missed tackle, trying to come up and run support.
First and goal with Ta'amu back on the field. Woolard won't get in. Sherrod Green, part of the crew with Javon Kinlaw and others that were in there. Second down.
Pretty good job by South Carolina defensively, and you can't overstate enough. All these red zone stops, none are bigger than this one right here after a 4th down gamble.
Ta'amu and his friends will walk 98 yards to the other 1-yard line. Ole Miss grabs the lead, and they're on the doorstep on a beautiful Saturday in Oxford. South Carolina red zone defense has been good today, but they put themselves in a tough spot here. See the total yardage. We are 3 away from 1,000 combined yards. This time he dives in. Ole Miss, 600 total yards.
He was actually expecting contact, could have walked in for that touchdown run. And you will think back to the gamble on 4th down on your own side of the field, and South Carolina incapable of picking up a yard, and a big stand by the defense to set up this scoring drive.
Ole Miss now up double digits after Isaiah Woolard is the latest to find the end zone in Oxford. Rebels on top. Yeah, they turned it around last year, Dari, after a 1-5 start and finished 7-5. So still time for Barry Odom and Drew Lock to do that this year, and there's still time for South Carolina to turn it around. Short kick. It's Samuel Fields at the 15. He's got a 90-yard kick return in the game, and he's past midfield here. 38 more for one of the best we've ever seen in college football.
He just always seems to show up when South Carolina needs him the most. Just such a phenomenal weapon on special teams as a return man.
Well, and Barry Odom says he's going to climb out of the stadium if they kicked it to him.
Well, yeah, I don't know what Matt Luke's going to do.
Bentley fakes to him. Looks around. Nice catch made by Edwards inside the 20. And Bentley surveys the whole field to find his top target.
Bentley's had time almost all day. The protection has been superb. And Brian Edwards, you know, A.J. Brown's probably the best receiver in the game for yards after the catch with the ball in his hands. Brian Edwards isn't far behind him. He's made some fantastic catches. Not a ton of them in this game. Obviously the big touchdown grab, a 3rd down conversion earlier this half. Then a nice catch there, picking up yards after he made the completion.
Goes out. Josh Vann comes in. Caught a touchdown pass on the last drive. And you see Miller dinged up. CJ's been banged up several times this season. Carry to Turner inside the 15. It'll be 2nd down. Bentley's now 6th all-time in South Carolina passing yards. He passed Anthony Wright and Phil Petty today. There's 2 other guys in the top 10. Todd Ellis there on your left that is seated. He's number 1 in passing yards. And then the guy on the right with the glasses, that's Tommy Suggs. He's 10th. A lot of great Gamecock quarterbacks in the house today. Bentley to the 5-yard line. 1st and goal from there as Vann makes another catch. True freshman has come on in the last few weeks.
Certainly has here in the 2nd half. He tried to stop and redirect. His footing kind of went out from underneath him. Otherwise, he had a chance to spin and run and get it in the end zone. This is quite an answer by the South Carolina offense, having been set up by that kick return. Deebo Samuel right up here at the top of your screen.
Bentley the other direction, and he's inside the 4 at the 3. Miles Hartfield makes a touchdown-saving tackle.
Well, Bentley wanted, he was looking for Deebo Samuel there. Got jammed a little bit, tucks and runs, and Hartfield comes up, makes a nice tackle. Almost Sanogo coming over there telling Bentley about it on that braced up knee.
Turner gets the edge to the goal line, touchdown. A.J. Turner with his first touchdown of the season puts the Gamecocks right back in it.
The speed of A.J. Turner to get over there, to capture the edge and make a dive for the pylon. And that is a physical finish to that run. You got Cedric Woods, and he's waiting on A.J. Turner.
Parker White to make it a 3-point game. (44-41). Rebels lead with 11:01 to go. Man, Dari's head's on a swivel right now watching the end of both of these, right?
Dari, you better see that chiropractor, brother. You're going to blow your neck out checking these games. There's a score. There's another score. How about Auburn battling back? Texas A&M, you got to think, man, if they drop this one, now all of a sudden they're reeling late in the season. It's kind of reminiscent of what you used to see at A&M under Kevin Sumlin.
It's the most points ever combined in this series. As they meet today for the 16th time. So is Elijah Moore, running all over the field. He's only going to get about a yard here on that borderline lateral throw.
That time, great job by Stephen Montag, who has been downhill most of today in diagnosing and getting underneath the blocks to get Elijah Moore on the ground, because we have seen number 8 for Ole Miss break tackles and pick up yards.
Tamu pressured, takes on tacklers instead of throwing it away, and Brunson puts him on the ground. He got dinged up too.
Yeah, he took a shot. It's on his non-throwing shoulder, but look at the coverage downfield. South Carolina, locked up man, and there was nowhere to go with this football. Tamu, they end up giving the ball back here in a punt. Longo's going to say, you got to throw that football away. Don't take that shot along the sideline.
First South Carolina sack of the game. On 3rd and 13, they'll just slide down, and that is a quick 3-and-out for Ole Miss.
Tamu looks a little bit shaken up. He took a big shot from T.J. Brunson, and then wisely slid down, but now he's kind of limping a little bit after that slide. You can see South Carolina, they were bringing pressure, and now that's the first 3-and-out for Ole Miss. We saw one earlier for South Carolina. Ole Miss was able to immediately capitalize. The quarterback for Ole Miss, ever since that shot he took from Ingabare, he's been a little shaken up.
Brown with that rugby-style kick. This is terrific. And it'll be marked out at the 27-yard line. Instead of throwing it away, as Stinch says, Tamu takes on T.J. Brunson, and he loses that battle. Gamecocks get it back. This is Denson's 9th carry. Burst of speed. Could go the distance. Denson down inside the 5. Cedric Woods saves the touchdown, but Mon Denson hits the home run.
See Cedric Woods trying to track him down after a great run from Mon Denson. Well, we got to say it again. Look, this is the 3rd or 4th string tailback for South Carolina. That's the longest run of the year.
Go right back to him. I wonder how much he's got left in the tank after a 70-yard run.
He's gassed. For sure he's gassed. Just a little bit surprised they didn't. They're probably trying to jump it, of course. It looks like Mon Denson's going to stay in there. A.J. Turner was able to get it in earlier on a run to the right side of the South Carolina front. The longest run prior to that was 30 yards all season. And Mon Denson rips off a 70-yarder in a 3-point game.
Bentley. Ooh, that was a dangerous pass that Samuel almost somehow made a one-handed catch on.
Deebo Samuel almost specializes in these. There was a lot of contact from C.J. Miller well before that ball got there. That ball wasn't tipped at the line of scrimmage.
He's had a couple of miraculous left-handed catches this year. He almost made another.
I'm a little surprised the flag did not come out on that play.
Third down, Turner standing next to Bentley. Jake flushed out, dives, end zone, touchdown.
We talked about the passing numbers earlier for Jake Bentley. He has managed the pocket incredibly well in this game. And this time, nowhere to go with the football. Didn't like what he had in the end zone. But it was Mon Denson's run, an improbable one, because he was kind of the short yardage back when they had healthy tailbacks to work with that set up this scoring drive.
South Carolina with 14 unanswered points. Mon Denson with the run of the year, a 70-yarder. It set up Jake Bentley escaping on a third down to give the Gamecocks the lead. Mizzou and Tennessee 2 years ago on Rocky Top had a shootout. Look at this today. Over 1,100 combined yards and 92 points in this one. South Carolina 48, Ole Miss 44. That guy has been a gamer today. Jake Bentley and the Gamecocks with the most recent touchdown. Ole Miss will get it at the 25-yard line. To the ground, Phillips. 32-yard line. Daniel Fennell with the tackle. Clock runs. Ole Miss fans probably not too concerned about the time and how many timeouts are left. They're concerned with Ta'amu's health here after getting banged up and leaving the game 2 different times. 2nd and 7. And that ball is caught up at the 42-yard line by Lodge. First down.
They've been watching closely all season. Only Alabama has more touchdown drives under a minute. This can be a quick strike offense. The question is, how healthy are you at your trigger man spot with Jordan Ta'amu in the game?
They'll take off. Out of bounds near midfield.
And he was quick to decide to run with that football. That's an indicator to me that he feels all right. He certainly feels comfortable enough to tuck and run. He easily could have thrown it away if his health is compromised. Well, in some ways, you breathe a sigh of relief if you're on that Ole Miss sideline to see your quarterback tuck it and pick up positive yards.
Incomplete over Lodge's head. 3rd and 4.
Had one-on-one matchup at the bottom of the formation as well, trying to find DeMarcus Lodge with another shot downfield. You miss it after the QB scramble, and now another big 3rd down, and can't emphasize it enough. They tried to get it to A.J. Brown earlier. Hadn't seen it other than the one catch where he's largely been neutralized opposite Rashad Fenton.
Very quiet for one of the best in the game.
Here he is down here, matched up with Fenton.
Ta'amu looking over at Phil Longo, the offensive coordinator. is intended for Brown, incomplete. Lucky to have that one back as Fenton, the defensive back, had the best play on the ball.
And he wanted A.J. Brown the whole way here, and he never came off it. Had a matchup you had to like. Your best receiver, man coverage, big physical body, and Rashad Fenton is all over it.
2 routes run in the same area, too.
It was crowded. You wonder if underneath the inside route was the correct one.
4th and 4, game on the line. Incomplete. Looking for Floyd Allen. Keyshawn Nixon forces the incompletion. South Carolina takes over.
Tomu again working to his left. A.J. Brown's side. I mean, zipped it right over the umpire's head. Would have been a really tough catch regardless. You see how that ball just skims right over the umpire's cap. Well, all game long, people are going to watch some of these throws here late. These officials, they set the precedent. They were going to let these guys play. There's been some contact. There's no doubt about it. Maybe a hand around the waist that time even. Floyd Allen couldn't get it. South Carolina. In an offensive explosion, you see Jake Bentley just trying to bleed as much clock as possible. Able to claw their way to 48 points in this game.
There's their remaining schedule. You see the last game that was officially added yesterday. That'll be here on SEC Network on the alternate channel on December the 1st. Go to Gainesville next week, host the Mocks on what was expected to be Senior Day 2 Saturdays from now. Down to Clemson at the end of November. But South Carolina, with their 5th win today, a win away from bowl eligibility once again for Will Muschamp. What a gritty performance by his team from the outset. Samuel with the 90-yard kick return for a touchdown. Ole Miss's offense virtually unstoppable most of the game, down 10 in the second half, and finding a way to win.
You see even last year, you know, it's the incremental improvement. It's going to be tough to beat out 9 wins, but this was a gateway win for South Carolina. There's no doubt. They pick up that Akron game on the back end of the season. Will they eclipse 9? Probably not. Not this season. But especially here today, I mean, it was a skeleton crew. They had all kinds of injuries, losing offensive linemen, running backs. The idea that it was a long rush, the longest of the season, in fact, that would set up the go-ahead score is as improbable of anything we've seen this year, given the injuries that they've seen at that position.
Defense in the second half helped win this football game. 13th time in the last 14 meetings it's been decided by a touchdown or less in this series. 2 will not play again for 7 years. Another Gamecock win.
Well, we could talk about Mondenson. Can't say enough about Deebo Samuel. He didn't show up very big in the offensive box score, but the return game for a touchdown and to cut the field in half was more than enough to give South Carolina what they needed.
Will Muschamp with Chris Budden.
Well, Coach, as a former defensive coordinator, what do you think about your team's performance?
I could really care less. You know, we were down to about our 6th or 7th safety. Linebackers, we were short. They were playing a bunch of snaps. They were really good offensively. Jordan was on fire. We had good coverage at times. He threw some really good balls. Give Ole Miss credit, but I really want to give our guys credit because they fought their guts out, won the 4th quarter.
Hey, given all the injuries to your defense, you made some crucial stops down the end. How'd you do it?
Well, you know, we played a little more man coverage and we pressured a little bit more than we had early in the game. I thought T-Rob did a nice job adjusting some things, and I'm just real proud of our team.
The injuries also bit your running backs. You're down to your 4th string. What can you say about the job that Mondenson did?
Well, outstanding, huge run there, but we got a lot of confidence in Mon. We don't look at him as a 4th string. He's a starter to me.
Thank you, Coach.
All righty, thank you.
That team is gutsy, man. They find a way to win. South Carolina 48, Ole Miss 44. SEC Now next with Dari, Gene, and Chris.